The Coaches Show is brought to you by Highway 55 Burgers, Shakes, and Fries. The Professional Fence Company. Our name says it all. No job too big or too small. Nunboys.com. And GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Welcome back to the Coaches Show. I'm Glenn Young alongside head coach Tom Paris. And coach, it's time to ask the coach segment. And I got a question here from Renee McCleary, who is the mother of Brandon, number 57, one of the big uglies. And actually here's a follow-on. First question is, as the season is wrapping up, looking ahead to next year, what are we doing differently to get more players out?
Well, you know, we recruit every day, and part of that is the transitional group, and you know, I went out to East Hope today, and spent some time.
Sandy Grove.
But I went out there before school got out and spent some time with the players and the coaches prior, you know, to the end of the school day, even coming around. I was able to talk to the Sandy Grove coaches a little bit. I got to go out there and visit with those players, and I got to do the same thing with West Hope. But you know, getting that started in the fall. It's a critical piece. I know last year I wasn't as quick to start that, so I've begun those efforts prior to the season ending, and you know, a great opportunity will present itself next week when East and West play at the high school on Wednesday.
Sure will.
And but you know, being visible and getting to know the kids and advising them of what's getting ready to happen as far as what they're going to have an opportunity to do to begin preparing for next year. You know, I did a lot of that today, and because we are gonna look for a way to try and get our rising ninth graders into our strength and conditioning facility 2 days a week once the second semester begins for the remainder.
So as early as this December?
January. But we want to try and get them over on Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, and you know, go ahead and begin to dispense with the middle school rivalries and get those guys used to working together.
Right.
And you know, that's a big key, getting them working together. You look at the hardest working kids in our program who are in that weight room, and they've been in there together.
Right.
And so the camaraderie that develops out of that situation, and going in there and pouring sweat and pushing each other and working your tail off, you know, it's a variable component that a lot of people, I don't know if they understand it or if they realize how important it is, because it builds a unity like nothing else, and that's what we've got to do. But we're constantly recruiting. You know, I grabbed a kid the other day, and it happens every other day, and I'm like, you know, why are you not playing football? Well, you know, and they hem and haw and go through different things, and you know, we talk to them about, well, you know, look, you need to, when this season's over, we need to talk, and you need to start, you know, strongly considering coming out there with us and spending some time with us, and let's see what you can do.
So you think this is a thing where you may run buses twice a week to the 3 middle schools?
Possibly. We got to come up with a plan for that. Yeah, we got to come up with a plan for that.
Because there is a cost involved,
right?
Of course.
And if we have to do that, you know, obviously some diesel fuel is going to have to be purchased. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration.
Follow-up question, more or less out of frustration. The number of kids trying out for the team. So how are we going to encourage kids to strength train in the postseason? You know, she was really adamant about how well and how much she saw her son progress on the old line, working in that, you know, buying into the program, believing and hitting in that weight room. But you know, it's frustrating because you don't see the other kids buy into it the same way. But your kid's been in there the whole time, and you obviously see the results. I mean, I don't know if that's much of a question or something that you can fix. But what's your answer to the situation?
You know, we have a reward schedule built into what we do that is attached to participation with regard to our strength program, and our running program, and works not in tandem, I guess, as a trifecta with our summer practice.
Right.
And so what we do with that is we try to reward our kids for being a part of it by, relieving them of or releasing them from post-practice conditioning and the other things that are typically associated with football when the actual preseason practice begins. And we do that because we feel like that they're at a point where they've developed a fitness level that is superior and highly conducive to being successful on the football field. But at the same time, and we've begun discussing this as a staff, I think rewards for our kids, especially for kids nowadays, not so much just ours, I don't know how we can make them more tangible. Knowing that you don't have conditioning at the end of practice for the first month is a little bit intangible because you don't really see the benefits of that till you get there. By the same respect, we encourage them, and we're going to stay on them. We're going to do a much better job this year of monitoring on a day-to-day basis as far as hunting them down, finding out why, if they've missed, why they missed, what we've got to do to get it made up to keep them on track so that they can be a beneficiary of the reward.
Now, do you think you'll be able to bring them in? You sit in the weight room in January. Will you be able to bring them as well in the spring practice in March?
Or are you talking about rising ninth graders?
Rising
No. Well,
So the earliest they could come is really the freshman combine.
Right, and with that too, on the days where we do train the rising ninth graders, we can't have any upperclassmen in the weight room. It has to be completely separate. It's a state regulation, and I understand the rule. I don't necessarily agree with it, but we're going to follow the rules.
So when you were out there today, what do you think? I know you could only stay the first half because you had to get back to practice. But what was the feeling that you got of what you saw with East Hoke and Sandy Grove?
Good-looking kids on both teams. Good-looking kids on both teams. Obviously, East Hoke is. They appear to be winning the battle of attrition with regard to numbers. I think Sandy Grove had 22 players dressed out.
Yeah, and this is their third year with their football program.
And I think East had about 40.
Yeah.
But both teams did a lot of things very well. Good-looking kids, good-looking players who we're going to make sure that we get our hands on quickly so that they can have an opportunity to hear from us and hopefully understand how important it is if they truly desire to be champions, what it's going to take in order for them to have an opportunity to make that happen.
And of course, you'll get to see them again next Wednesday, West Hoke as well as East Hoke.
Well, and I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out to Sandy Grove one day, and I'm going to go over to West, to take time and the opportunity to mingle with the players and talk to them a little bit like I was able to do at East today. I enjoy doing things like that, and it'd be nice.
Did they sort of have a deer in the headlights? That's the high school coach.
No, they didn't.
Did they sort of stress out?
They were all really, and really the only players that I had a chance to interact with today were the East players, and they were all very genuine, very respectful, attentive, and I mean it was nice, Coach Mishaw and Coach Calder and those guys, they do a great job with those kids, and you can tell it shows with how they act.
Who's going to be your starting quarterback against Scotland?
Right now, it's Andre Pegues.
Andre Pegues. How did he grade out last
80%.
week? I thought he did well. I saw the one fumble, but he also scored a touchdown. But he seemed to grasp what you were doing immediately. 109
yards rushing. I forget how many yards passing. But his total, it's over 200 yards for him as far as his contributions to the total offense. But the fact that he graded out 80%, it speaks volumes.
In his
about,
first start. Yes, that was great. Brandon Smith gone, Jacob Russian gone. How are you going to replace that output? We mentioned Nakeem Shaw, but I mean, man, that's
I told you,
that's a tall order.
Devin Norwood,
Montreal Douglas.
Those are the next two guys offensively who possess the same skill set as Brandon, who can do the things that Brandon does. Now, maybe not at 4-2, probably more like 4-3.
Right.
But 4-3 is pretty daggone fast.
Yes, that is quick.
And if we can get 4-3 in space and regardless of which one it is, and we can hang on to the football and continue to move the ball without turning it over, we feel good about our chances.
Coach Bailey and Coach Metzger, their comments after the game last week when they played each other. Coach Bailey, we win because we outwork people. Metzger's comment, penalties. Scots have a great team, but they wanted to take the next step, meaning Pinecrest wanted to take the next step. How do you see, when you look at those two comments that they made, how do you see hope in that? When you talk about the SEC and, of course, Richmond, what's our next step?
Well, both are classic coach speak.
Yeah, I mean, they got the mic in there, they said all the things,
Bottom line, I don't care who you are on any given Friday night. The team that wins is the team that wants to win the worst, and or the most. And with that, usually it ends up being the team that plays the best game, plays the most complete game, plays the most physical game, pays attention to the details, does all the little things well. Do mistakes weigh into it? If Chris wants to talk about mistakes and penalties,
Coach Metzger,
he ain't got nothing on any conversation.
No, he sure though. That's true.
But here again, it goes back. You look at the end game. I don't care who you are, you can't make mistakes and beat good football teams. It's hard to make mistakes and beat bad football teams. So we're all constantly in a quest to amp up the intensity, to make sure that our players truly desire to win and they're willing to work for what they desire. No doubt that Coach Bailey's team and his players, they work very hard, and it shows. It transitions well into the game. Our kids work hard. They work very hard. I think a lot of times our hard work is overshadowed by adverse situations in which we have something go wrong, and it just kind of takes over and takes on an identity in and of itself.